Welcome to the final video in this series on creating test device files. There are two things left to look at. One is how to create your test functions so they can appear in the test list, and the other is how to deal with warnings. Think about test functions first. Just putting a function into a test device file isn't necessarily going to mean you can add it to the test list. There are three criteria that it must meet first. One of them arises because a function in the test list has to be able to tell the system the result of the test. Therefore, one criterion is that the function must provide only one return parameter, which must be an integer that indicates pass or fail. Returning a 0 tells the system that the test has passed, and any other value indicates a failure. You can use that as a way to pass an error code, but if you're just returning a pass-fail result, it's good to use the global constants result_pass and result_fail that are defined in globals.xje, which all library files already use. The second criterion is that the function should be defined with the global keyword, and the third is that its code must be error-free. If those three criteria are met, it's a valid test function and can be added to the test list. It's also worth mentioning there's a useful tick box related to this. Adding a tick to this checkbox will add the test function to the test list automatically. You can select the group it will be added to using the drop-down menu, or you can type a name for a new group directly into the box. The other thing to think about now is how to deal with certain warning messages. Let's take the example of an IC that supports multiple interfaces, say a device that can be controlled over either SPI or I2C. If your implementation only uses I2C, it's quite likely that some of the SPI pins may be inaccessible. That's probably not a problem if the test device file has been written so that it can work with either interface, but it could generate a warning about inaccessible pins. In that case, there's no actual problem, so the warning can safely be hidden. To do that, select the warnings and click the Hide button. That moves them out of sight to the Hidden Warnings section. Another time you might get a warning that can be ignored is when a pin isn't available. For example, let's say you've got an EEPROM with a write protect pin that's tied. The test device file for that device supports implementations where it's accessible and where it isn't. If the pin is accessible, the XJE's test will check that it functions. But if it's not accessible, then the XJE's test will skip that part of the test and show a warning to say so. In this case, we're expecting the warning and know that it isn't a problem, so it can be hidden. One final note on hiding warnings. You've seen how to hide individual ones, but it's also possible to turn off all warnings for a particular device. It's done on the Categorize Devices screen. Right-click on the device and remove the tick from Show Warnings in the context menu. Be aware, though, that doing it this way means you won't get any warnings related to that device later on, so if you make a mistake that generates a warning, you won't see it. And that's it. I hope what you've seen has been useful and that you feel you now understand test device files and, if necessary, can go and create one of your own. You might also like to know that the help system has a user guide on this topic, so you can also refer to that if you need a little reminder of what you've seen or want a bit more detail. Other help series are also available, and XJTag adds to them regularly, so why not explore the other topics covered and then come back in the future to see what's new. Thank you for watching. We wish you all the best with your test device file creation.